So in today's guide, we are going to talk about passive skills, passive abilities, and one of the gameplay game mechanics that you can completely bypass or completely ignore, but you shouldn't. And as a matter of fact, this is something that you should be engaging with as soon as you get the chance, and that is rift incursions. They are going to give you passive skills, they are going to give you weapons, they are going to give you a ton of goodies that you are going to need. So, what is it that we are going to need first and foremost? It's going to be runes of Mortium. The very first thing that you have to do, as soon as you get the chance, is exploring this place. And I mean that in a way of not really engaging with this map on itself, but purely just to clear the fog of war, the fog of war that you have on the map right here. There's several incursion places that you're going to have right here. One of them is going to be Dracula's Castle Courtyard, Frozen Lake Ruins, North Fortress Ruins, and so on and so forth. All of them are going to be places where you're going to be able to engage into rift incursions. Now, as you progress into the game, you're also going to be, this is something that you cannot bypass, you're going to be able to build a Eye of Modum. For the Eye of Modum, you can build you're going to need iron ingot, scorched stones, and scrolls, which are materials that you are going to be using for quite a whole bunch of stuff. Now, one thing to have in mind is that you only need to place it. For example, I have mine right here. You can, of course, interact with it, but you don't necessarily need to. What this is going to do is that it is going to show you anytime that you, for example, if I go to a different place, like here, my study, my personal study, I stand in here and I open up the map, you will see that down here I have my rift incursions for a world bent level 57 plus that is going to begin in 16 minutes from now. At that time, the game is going to show me in which of these locations am I going to have a rift incursions. Now, rift incursions are going to be those places where you're going to have to close the rifts. Every time that you do so, you are going to get a Stygian Shards. Now, how do I use my Stygian Shards? Well, they have several different uses. So, for example, right here, you can use them to purchase legendary weapons. Well, not like ancestral weapons, and usually the ancestral weapons are going to have the same gear level at the rest of your gear level, but they are going to have huge power spikes because they have different little skills, like these ones that I have right here. For example, I have my overwhelming Stonebreaker. It's usually the basic weapons, usually like this one, you will see that it has physical power. This is a merciless iron weapon. You are going to need merciless iron weapons to later on upgrade them to these things that we have right here, which are ancestral weapons. But this one, for example, instead of just the physical power, it also has the physical extra damage to wood, it has spell critical strike power, and it also has the weapon skill cooldown recovery rate. Similar to that one, this one has a little bit more physical damage to minerals. That's because of the weapon type that it is. But it also has this bonus spell power and also has spell critical strikes. So that's one thing to have in mind. But also, you will see that they have ability modifications on, for example, Crushing Blow, which is going to be inflicting static. It's going to be Storm Infuse. That is a weapon skill. This one, for example, that is going to have a extra little something, whereas the basic weapons are not going to do so. Like I said, you can use Stygian Shards to purchase those weapons right here at the Vampire Merchant, and then later on you can go to the other merchant, which is up here, to purchase the final ones, which are going to be the level 30 ancestral weapons, such as the one that you have right here. But also, I can't stress enough how important it is for you to engage at least with the tier 1 level rift incursions, so that you can begin unlocking the passive skills for your trees, so that you can start building more powerful characters, such as, for example, the Blood Spray, which is going to give you leech and critical strikes, and also it has a chance of spawning blood orbs every time that you kill an enemy that's being affected by leech. Or for example this one, Ignite deals 20% increased damage and there is a 50% chance that Chaos Explosion ignites enemies on hit. So these are huge power spikes that are going to benefit the overall effectiveness of your build. So for example, right now I have a kind of electric build that I am planning for the channel, so that for example lightning fast strikes, it increases the primary attack speed by 5%, and it also static triggers deal 20% increased damage. So for that, you're going to need a Author of Stygian Awakening. Again, this is something that you're going to get through natural progression in the story. It is going to be a requirement. You're not going to be able to progress into the main campaign if you do not build this one. But like always, the game is just going to tell you to build it, and you're not going to really know why or how should you interact with it. It is going to be right here on the production dominance tab of your building. And it is going to require a regular ruby, which are not that difficult to get, iron ingot, and then greater blood essence, which you can get from the blood press, which is right here on the refinement tab, if I remember correctly. And yes, here it is. So here you will see that I have already unlocked all of my passive abilities, and I believe, if my memory serves me well, that you are going to be able to unlock the first row, which is the tier 1, just by playing through the mid-game on the regular tier 1 incursions. For the rest of them, the tier 2 and 3, I think that you're going to need greater Stygian shots, and they are usually not that difficult to get. And as a matter of fact, every time that you see incursions right here, each time that you close a location, you're going to get around 500. So now you know everything there is to know about Rift incursions. Why should you be doing Rift incursions? And like I said, when I had like my first playthrough, I didn't engage with them that much, but because sometimes the game just forces you to ignore kind of stuff, or you want to progress into the main campaign. Do not ignore the things that the game teaches you how to make. Immediately go to engage with them. Yes, of course, I do advise for you for your gear level to be around 50. Around 50-ish, that's where you're going to be able to go through Rift incursions, and that's around like the second act of the game. So as soon as you hit the second act of the game, you get the gear, you get the armor. Like for example, this is second act of the game armor, the Crimson Templar armor, and so on and so forth. These are the kind of stuff that you need. I do have a little bit of a extra gear level, but that's only because my weapon is already ancestral built, which then again, it's something that you're going to be able to do as well on the second act of the game. Anyways, if you like the content, so like the verse, I appreciate it. And also, if you think you're a gorgeous, beautiful person, you're indeed a gorgeous, beautiful person. Have a lovely day, and goodbye.